Welcome to Ladies of Another View on Back. I am joined today by Emily and Jan, and we have Representative Jeff Magrum here to join us today. He's got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the ARPA, which is the American Rescue Plan Act. We're going to talk about some new delayed bills that are up in the Capitol that's going to be going on here shortly, about voting and about vaccines, all kinds of things that are coming up. I want to welcome you to the show, Jeff.
Well, thanks, Mary. It's an honor for me to be here with you, ladies.
Thanks. We really appreciate it when you come because we get the nuts and bolts. There's no frill. It's just here's the facts, and that's what we like about having you on as a guest.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate that.
Well, let's just hop right into it because we got a lot to cover. Let's talk about, it's called ARPA, and a lot of people don't know what that is. It's American Rescue Plan Act, and it's tied to COVID money. Why don't you just kind of give a brief explanation of exactly what it is and what it does?
Well, the federal administration decided to give every state some money for relief, is what I call it, relief for the citizens. And we had gotten $1 billion last year, but it was all spent by the executive branch without any legislative oversight. And I felt that was totally, not only was it unconstitutional, I don't think it was right, it was immoral the way it was spent. And the question is, whose money is it? When the feds give money back, to me, it's almost like a tax refund. And so it's the people's money because the government never did anything to bring that money in, whether it was through tax or any other royalties from the oil companies or anything like that. So the question is, whose money is it? And my argument is it's our money, the people's money, and it should be used for relief and to help the people. So that's where my stance is, and we haven't gotten any kind of legal opinion from the Attorney General at this point. And so I went to Legislative Council Wednesday after our testimony and in the House, and then I asked them to give me something, because the argument is going to be in the Constitution, Article 10, Section 18. It says the state, county, or city governments cannot donate to the people. But if it's not the state's money and it's the people's money, the state is actually just acting as a transfer agent to distribute the funds back to the people.
Sure. So
that's where we're at, and I think it's a good argument because the state doesn't need the money. The governor came out last week and said, and I quote him on his email here, he says and I did present this to the House and Senate Appropriations Committee. The governor's comment was, North Dakota's rainy day savings accounts are full, our checking accounts are overflowing, and we are in a near record strong financial position. And then on the end of his email, he says, join us in urging the legislature to return these dollars to the taxpayers.
Well, so, amen. Where's the problem? This should pass with flying colors.
Yeah, that's where, so the state doesn't need the money. We just went through the whole budgeting process this year, and we increased the budget over $2 billion. There was nobody every agency that came in and asked for money, they got what they wanted.
Wow.
As far as I know, they all have money. And maybe even more than enough money, although they'll never admit to that because then they won't get as much next time. So there's no shortage of money. The counties have money. The cities, unless they are poor managers, they should have money now because they've gotten money through various different funds. So there's no reason that we can't give money back to the people. And my argument, too, is it would create some confidence in the people and some goodwill toward our legislature, because right now being a legislature is not a popular thing. I mean, people despise us. They think we waste the money, and there is a lot of waste. But, this time we could help the people out, and it would create good morale amongst our fellow citizens, I think. Not to mention it would create a bustling economy going into the holidays.
Oh, amen.
And everybody's heating bill is going up. Their food bill is going up.
Gas.
Insurance, nothing's going down, so
True.
I think it would be a big help.
Well, and I get back to the same point, we keep talking about this federal funding, all right? The federal government doesn't have money. That's taxpayer money. So it is our money. It's taxpayer money. And so if there's too much of it, then give it back.
Yeah. Well, and that's the point of the federal government, is to create some relief to the people. And so the people are the ones that suffered. The government didn't suffer.
Not at all. No.
Yeah, I mean, many of the people were allowed to work from home and still are working from home. So there should have been some savings in rent and things like that. So we should be able to cut the budget going forward, not increase it, hopefully. So I think this is something that could be done. I don't think there's any reason that it can't be, and it would create a new precedence in the state, because we looked it up, and there's never been a time the federal government has issued this kind of funding to the states in the past. I mean, there always has been, but usually it was tied to something, whether it was highway distribution or some other type of program, where this time it's just a lump sum. It's in the Bank of North Dakota and the North Dakota Treasury. So now the question is, and they did take, I don't remember the exact number, but they were talking almost 200 proposals on how to spend or invest the money.
So this money came straight from the federal government to all the states. All the
Yes.
states was given this money, and there was no, you have to use it this way. Is that correct?
They do have some guidelines,
Okay.
but the one guideline that jumped out at me was it cannot be used for a pension plan. And right now, our North Dakota retirement plan, the PERS plan they call it, Public Employees Retirement System, is in arrears $1.6 billion. And we have the money. And there's just not an appetite by our legislature to make that whole. So there's some legislators wanted to take this money and put it toward the amount that we're in arrears, but that was actually in the framework of the funding that came out, that you can't use it for that. It was pretty obvious that they didn't want it to be used for a pension plan. So they want it to be spent into the economy. And I mean, I shouldn't say that. The Liberals kind of probably do want us to build a bureaucracy and grow government. But this plan doesn't grow government, and it doesn't pick winners or losers. It doesn't discriminate. Everybody is part of the family, part of the state of North Dakota. Everybody gets the same amount, whether you're a child, a man, or a woman. Everybody would get the same amount. And of course, the larger families would have a bigger benefit, but they have larger expenses too. So a family of a couple with 5 children would get over $9,000. And I don't see that as a bad thing. I don't feel bad because it's just me and my wife in our house now. And there's been questions about whether we should do a lump sum per household. I never did get a number for that. We talked about it, but I think the per person payment would probably be more fair.